Aloha and welcome. It's nice to be here with you as always. My name's David. I'm coming to you live from Lemuria, the Hawaiian Islands, which are the ancient mountaintops of Lemuria. I know a lot of us have been busy over the holiday season or wrapping things up for the year. And I've noticed this is always happens every year. This week I start to get emails or I see posts online about, okay, it's time to start setting goals for the new year. It's time to think about your New Year's resolutions. Well, today I'd like to share something that I've found to be so much more effective, more beneficial than setting goals or setting resolutions. Personally, I have never ever been successful setting a New Year's resolution ever, whether it was trying to quit smoking in the past or shift something in my career. No, it's never worked for me, and I know for a lot of you, you feel the same way. Um, so today, I want to share something that I think is a lot more effective, and for me, it's a lot more fun. Oh, aloha, Valeria. Nice to see you. Thanks for checking in. Hey, if you're tuning in, feel free to just leave a quick note in the chat. Let us know where you're checking in from today. Um, this week on my blog, I posted an article sharing some of the things that I do personally, but also some things I do with my wife at the end of the year, kind of end of year rituals or exercises to help us not only feel good about the year that's coming to an end, but also puts us in a really good, optimistic, enthusiastic state of mind for the coming year. So I invite you to go over to davidbauer.com and check out that article. But in that same vein, I wanted to talk a little bit about what we tend to do at the end of a big cycle, like at the end of a year. You know, we start thinking, okay, this is what I did or didn't do over this year. What do I want to do differently in the new year? What do I want to either create or change in my life? So this time of year, those thoughts tend to come up for most of us. Aloha, Yvonne and Jill and Leanne. Thank you so much for being here. It's nice to see people from around the world, various time zones. So nice to be here with you. And what I want to share today is predicated on this idea that our thoughts create our reality. Okay, that's just one of the fundamental spiritual understandings that most of us come to and work with in our lives. That our thoughts, our intentions, what we give our attention to is what manifests in our lives. Now, in Lemurian times, in Lemuria, we existed at a much higher vibration. It was a different dimension. It was a higher frequency. We were more aware of this connection between our thoughts and our manifestations. It was we could see the results of our manifestations almost immediately. Well, here in the density of third dimensional human existence, we don't always see the connection between the thoughts or beliefs we've been holding and then what manifests, because there's this lag time, there's this buffer between our thinking and what manifests in our lives. And for most of our lives, we don't get to see that connection because of this lag or buffer time. Aloha, Jadrian. Oh, my dear brother from the Mayan realms. So nice to have you here. So in Lemuria, we were much more aware of how our thoughts created our reality. And what I have found to be more effective than goal setting or creating resolutions for the new year is just a simple commitment to start telling new stories, right? In fact, this is a two-part process. And for those of you that have studied and learned Lemurian healing from me, either for self-healing or you're a certified practitioner, I know this is going to sound familiar, but it's worth talking about, especially at this time of year. And my guides have been pushing me all week. Okay, you got to share this. your last Facebook Live of the year. You got to share this. So it's a two-part process. First part is stop telling those old stories that don't serve you. You know, we tend to focus on what is already manifested in our lives. But, even right now, this interaction you and I are having online, this is old news. This is past tense. This is the end of the manifestation process. But all of our thoughts and energy from this moment are going out into the future to create tomorrow and next week and next month. And if we want to create a different reality than, the things that we keep, how many times do we feel like we're in the merry-go-round? It's like, okay, we keep experiencing similar things. Our lives barely change. Well, because we keep telling ourselves old stories, and when we tell other people stories, we tend to tell old stories of how I got mistreated as a kid, and this is why I'm this today. It's like, okay, if you want to keep creating that limited reality based on the belief that how you were treated when you were 5 years old continues in this moment to, dictate what your life experience is, you're going to just stay on that treadmill. Nothing's going to change. So that's the first step, is to notice when you're telling old stories that don't serve you, or stories of things that you really don't want to keep manifesting. Stop that. Cut that out, And doing that is actually easier than stopping smoking. And you do it simply by setting your intention. Okay, talk to your heart, talk to your higher self, and go, hey, I want to become more aware of the stories that I tell habitually to myself, or that I tell other people. Because, we're not victims. We are creatures of habit. And we tend to tell the same stories because they're easy. We maybe have learned how to tell stories in a funny way. But if that story really doesn't serve us, if that story is not a reality that you want to perpetuate, let it go. That's an old script. Let it go. You never have to tell that story again. So that's the first step, is notice when you're just automatically or habitually telling yourself or other people stories that don't serve you. I just noticed something recently where someone I love dearly keeps noticing how technology is so daunting, right? And we can if I know there's some tech that's daunting for me, there might be some tech that's daunting to you. But as long as we continue to tell ourselves that, oh, this technology is just too overwhelming, I'll never get this, the universe is going to accommodate you and keep making it difficult and making things a hurdle. But if you start telling yourself new stories like, oh, you know what? I learn things easily. I like it when things come easily to me. I'm getting better at this all the time. I look forward to learning this and feeling more comfortable with this particular tool or product and so forth. And so incrementally and very easily, we can start to tell new stories. And those new stories not only feel good to tell, but that's the energy that we start sending out into our future, into the universe, into that non-physical realm, to begin coalescing and manifesting. So that becomes our new reality next week and next month and next year. And I have found this whole concept of just setting an intention to start telling new stories, start telling better stories, start telling stories about what you want. Not only is it easier because it's kind of gradual, incremental change, but you start to build momentum. You start to develop a habit of telling new stories and not looking around and going, wow, things are crappy, so I'm just going to keep talking about how, things are not the way I want them to be. It's like, no, whatever's around you, whatever you see, that is already manifested. That's old news, past tense. No reason to focus on it any more than you have to. Think about how you would like things to be in the future. And the more general, here's a trick too. The more general you are, the easier this becomes. So, for example, I've got my little notebook I keep on my desk all day, every day. And often throughout the day, I'll just pause and I'll write some sentences in my notebook with a pen that flows easily on the page. I'll just write some sentences that get me in the mood of telling a new story. You know, if I'm about to start working on a new project, or I'm going to start going through, my monthly bookkeeping or going through email, I'll just take a few moments and write some sentences and get a flow going in my notebook, telling myself the story the way I want things to be. I want things to be easy and joyful. I want to get clarity. I really enjoy getting more and more clarity. I'm getting, better at managing my business every day. I'm getting better at marketing my business every day. So I will just, whatever I get inspired to, I'll just write down. But it always puts me in a very positive mood to then now do whatever I'm going to do. And just little habits like this make it easier to start telling new stories. And as you start telling new stories about the way things you want them to be, or the things that you're looking forward to, oh, the power of that is indescribable, because you build up momentum and things get easier. More good things start unfolding in your life because you're telling a new story and you're allowing that new story to manifest for you. Remember, the universe is matching your expectations all day, every day. And if you expect things to stay the same, if you expect things to be difficult or frustrating, or you feel like things are happening to you rather than for you, you're just going to create more of the same. But if you want to create something new, if you want to let all that good stuff into your life that you deserve, that is kind of out there waiting for you, start telling new stories. And this is so much easier than putting pressure on yourself to set a resolution. It's like, I'm going to do this. No pain, no gain. I'm going to force myself to do X, Y, and Z. It's like, God, even saying those things gives me the willies, it just feels so uncomfortable. You are a powerful creator. You are so much more powerful than you have led yourself to believe. So this is an easy way to start creating a new reality. Start telling new stories. And remember, as a part of that, let go of the old ones. You don't need to tell the story of how you got to where you are and justify the way you feel. Nah, not important. What's important is what you're focused on now in this moment and the future that you want to create for yourself. It's a really exciting time. And as I said, this is kind of an appropriate topic for this time of year, but this is something that you can use throughout the year. Set the intent to catch yourself when you're telling old stories that don't serve you, and practice telling new ones. And again, the trick is be general, because the more general you are, the easier it is to kind of build up momentum and feeling optimistic about things. Well, I've been on kind of a roll. I just want to make sure I cover what I wanted to share today. And it looks like I did. Yay! So, if you're not a fan of goals, if setting resolutions doesn't really resonate with you, try the story approach. It's easier, it's more fun. Oh, and one more point. Yes, thank you for the reminder. It is okay to talk about the past, but the best way to talk about the past is to talk about things that you appreciate or enjoy. Hey, hi, hey Sarah, hey Jill. So for example, in my blog article, I said one of the things my wife and I do at the end of the year is we go over all the things about the closing, the year that's coming to an end. We go over all the things that we really appreciated or enjoy. And that's fun. When you think about things that worked out, things that, unexpected gifts, meeting nice people. I mean, looking at a list of people here checking in, and I just feel so blessed to have met all of you and interacted with all of you during this year. So looking back at things that you appreciate, that feels good. That's fun. So as you look back at the past and tell stories about the past, you can do that, but make sure it feels good. Make sure it's uplifting and it puts you in that good, optimistic mood, because as you recognize abundances or good things or nice people or great manifestations that you've already enjoyed, the more you appreciate, the more the universe will give you to appreciate in the future. So it's okay to talk about the past, just keep it positive and look for things to appreciate. And speaking of appreciation, for all of you that are joining me here live or watching this recording, from my heart, I really want to thank you for doing this journey with me this year. I know some of you are brand new to me just in the last few days, even, and some of you have been with me for years. And from my heart, thank you for being with me this year. Thank you for doing this journey with me, because we are co-creating this heaven on earth together. And I look forward to playing with you in one way or another in the new year. So, aloha, everyone. Sending you my love and bright blessings from Lemuria. And we'll do this again soon, okay? Aloha. Mahalo, everyone. Thank you.